Hello and welcome to the video. Right, if there's one thing I've always loved about Golden Mask, it's the amount of coils they make. You really do get something for all occasions with Golden Mask, from tiny little coils right up to really big coils and different shapes as well. They really do put the time and effort into making sure that you've got the right tool on the end of the stem to do the right job. And today we're going to have a look at the little 7-inch coil. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out in some stubble and I'm going to take it in the woods, and I'm just going to show you how it works basically. We'll do some talking in between, a few little tips, a few do's and don'ts, and then at the end we'll summarise the performance and why you should consider going smaller. Okay, nice bit of depth on that one. Came out in the last sod. Really need to do some filming, I think. Wasn't really going to show finds today, just want to talk about the coils, but yeah, I think maybe I should change tact because I'm hitting so many signals. Now why don't we do some live digs and some tones and talk more in general. Let me give this a clean up, see what we got. Okay, there's not a lot on it, but I can just make out George III's head right in the centre. Can you see that? It's gone very cloudy out here and it's quite difficult to do filming like this close up and really show you what I'm trying to point out, but that was a lovely crisp clean signal on that little 7-inch coil at good depth as well, and that's a lovely old Georgian coin. Well, I had to shift some earth to get that out. I mean, that was a good depth, and that's just a little tiny button. So when people say small coils you'll lose loads of depth, you'll lose a little bit of depth, but if it's there they'll still find it. Scratchy, dirty signal to start with, and then it really picked up. Now one thing you want to remember about these little coils, they are smaller. If you go taking great big wide swings like this and taking huge strides of earth, you are going to miss loads of ground. If you walk in a straight line for 10 yards and you're striding about a metre every time, then you are going to miss loads of land. You're going to actually detect, if you're lucky, about 1/4 of where you've been. So try and think of these coils as little sniffers. Work your area. Use the fact that it's light and it's easy to knock through stubble, and just work the area. Move slowly. Just make sure you catch everywhere. It's a sniffer. It can't go galloping off. It's not very big. Think of it like a little sniffer dog at the airport. It has to go around everywhere. Oh, big old claggy lumps today. Well, it's in there. It's definitely gone a bit worse for wear. But is that because it's a small target near the surface? Okay. Let's bring this in a little bit just in case you're off camera. Oh. Nope. I bet you it goes down to the last clump. They always do. They always seem to, don't they? Can't see anything yet. Aha! The last but one clump. So what have we got? Oh, I think I might be able to see it. Yeah, it was quite close to the surface. That's why it went a bit gunky and irony afterwards, but it's a tiny little twisted piece of metal. That's not bad for a small coil, is it? And that's a very thin, twisted piece of metal. Let's have a look. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one that fell in the hole. No. Let's have a look. I'm scanning the earth for any indication, any sign. I could get my pinpointer But with these small targets that you often get, sometimes I just think, do you know what? Use your eyes, use your hands, just work the stuff until you find it. It's not always the right choice though. You can have signals like this where you're just constantly going backwards and forwards with bits and nothing's happening. So when that's the case, get your machine. There you go. It's right there under my nose. Is it you? No, you're a stone. It's you. Oh, it's another coin. Well, would you believe it? I must have moved it out of the way a little bit. It's another coin. Oh, look at that for depth. Hope you can see that. Let me just move that up there in case you can't. Look at that. Down to the notch. Not too shabby for a little coil. This is a very worn coin, but we'll give it a clean. Very, very thin. This is an old one. Yeah, this has got some age to it. I don't think we're going to have a lot on this, but it's always nice to find coins. Well, unfortunately, there's nothing to talk about on this one, I'm afraid. Nothing to see. Move along, move along. But look how thin it is. And these coins never had a lot on them to start with, to be quite honest. You know, the print on them was not as strong as later coins, so they do wear quite easily. Way for thin coin. Big old coin. Possibly George I, possibly earlier. It's always lovely to be holding coins when you're out detecting, even if they are worn ones. Well done, little 7-inch coil. You've sniffed out another one. Now, one of the things you notice when you use a small coil is how much lower you can keep it to the ground. You can get in amongst the stubble, you can get in amongst the rubbish, and you can really keep it low. Now, the beauty of that, of course, is that the lower to the ground you are, the more depth. So what's the point of struggling away with a big coil that's rising up off the floor and is difficult to keep down? What's the point of doing that if you're going to lose depth? You might as well stick a small coil on, keep it low, work it close. Horses for courses. Just nice and easy, moving through the stubble. Not taking a big swing, just making sure I spot every single piece of earth. When I hit the nasty old stubble, just let the lightness of the coil do the job. And just sniff around. Almost like a little window wiper swing, really. Just left, right, till I get a nice beep, then stop and investigate. Oh, that's a iffy one. I don't need to wave the mud over the coil for this one. I can see the little ball. I had a bit of depth on it as well. Yep. Just bring it in just to double check, obviously. Yeah, there she is. Little tiny pistol ball, not a big one. Again, a stop you in your tracks signal. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, I just want to run you through this area and just show you when a small coil really comes into its own. If you look at these little gaps in between the two trees, getting a proper swing, so much easier. If I want to get round there, in between that old tree stump and that, get a nice full swing, even get underneath. But just the sheer ability to get in little places and maybe find the odd target. Oh, bit of iron under there. But that's what it's really all about. Okay folks, here's one that should interest you, certainly interested me, right underneath that twig. You just have no fear of getting in amongst areas like that when you've got a small coil. You don't look for the clean areas, you go sniffing and come around the other side, look. Oh, that's a very big target. I might have to have a look at that later on, but I think that might be a huge piece of junk. But you're not afraid to get in these areas with a little coil. That's the beauty of it. You go sniffing. Let's have a look. Let's see if it's a goodie. Not making any promises. There's an awful lot of junk in these woods. Right by the edge of the woods now as well, back near the roads. You might be able to hear some car noises. Oh, full of roots. I tell you what, now that we've been under it, we can get rid of that, can't we? We don't need that in the way anymore. It's just the freedom to go to those places and not feel you have to clear loads of stuff out the way first. Whatever it is, it's down there a bit. Oh, hang on. It's a coin. I am over the moon. That's a coin. I'll eat my hat if that's not a coin. It is a coin. I don't really care what it is, it's just the fact that it's hunted a coin out from all of this gunk and debris in here for you on the video. That's the most important thing here, really. It's just showing you the effectiveness of small coins. I think that's a Queen Elizabeth II. I don't think that's old at all. I think it's quite modern. Yeah, I'll clean it a bit more. Not even sure what coin that is. Yeah, that looks like QE2. I don't think we've got any age on that. I'll clean it up and we'll have a close-up. But yeah, sniffing under all the broken bits of tree and all the funny little areas. That's sometimes where the treasure lives. Okay, so it's just an old Elizabeth II penny, but I don't think that's really the point here, is it? The point is that it was underneath some overhanging and broken branches, but I didn't think twice. I didn't turn around and go in an easier direction like I might have done with a bigger, clumsier coil. I just kept sniffing. And that's what you do with small coils. You just keep sniffing around. You don't have to stop and think so much. You just keep on going. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly talk about how I've got the cable set up for the hunts in the video. Now, as you can see, it's quite close to the stem. This is really important when your coil is going to get bumped and banged about in stubble and wooded areas. The more knocks and bangs that gets, the more chance of a false signal if your coil cable is loose. So as you can see up here, I've got a very small loop. It's enough to make sure that the cable has got some play going all the way round. So I'm not going to hurt the cable. I'm not pulling on this, and this is designed to bend. So that is perfectly fine. But it's a small loop, so it's not going to move about. Tied nice and close to the coil so that it's fixed. So that isn't going to move around if I get any bumps and bangs, and that is really important. It's more important when you work in tough areas. Sometimes you'll get away with a more slack cable wind on grass and things like that. You might not notice it so much, especially with a nice easy swing. But once you go sniffing about in difficult areas and you're getting bumps and bangs, if you don't have it set up right, it will start to false. So if you do get falsing in tough areas, just have a think about your coil cable. Have a think about how you've got it set up. Is it tight enough? Does it need to be wound a bit closer to the stem? Does it need to be done in such a way that it can't just judder or move when it gets a knock? Okay, we've got a nasty little bush here, a little tough old bush tree there, and a bit of log over there. Now if you had a bigger coil on, you'd give up in areas like this because you wouldn't get a swing. But with a small coil, you've got a full swing and you can sniff in, left, right, move it, get right round. There we go, check the whole area for a target. And there you go. And through and on with your detecting. Okay, so why am I showing you a picnic bench? Well, I was just about to pack up when I looked at that and thought, do you know what? That kind of typifies the kind of obstructions you get in the woods, and it's nice and clean and clear out here. That will make a good demo. So let's have a look at what you might do around something like that if you had a big coil, and what you'll probably do if you've got a small coil. Okay then, let's use the bench as an example. So imagine these were trees or just fence posts that you were going to work around, old stumps, who knows what. When you've got a big coil and you don't want to bang it off of objects, you're more afraid of going in tight areas, and you're probably just going to come along here and do this and then move in another direction. With a small coil, you just get stuck in. And kneel down with a trowel, get in there, go and have a look and see what it is. And this, well, that's as far as you're going with a big coil. But with a little coil, nice full swing between those two posts. So I think that's the point, really. I think that's what we're talking about here. It's just the mindset that you get with a small coil. It allows you to just keep going, when with another coil you might move back, you might just see it as too hazardous, too bump and bang. But with this, no, you'll just keep reaching your arm out and going that little bit further in all the nooks and crannies. And as you well know, sometimes it's the nooks and crannies where you find the stuff. Okay, so there we go. That's a run out with the 7-inch coil on the Golden Mask One Plus UK. Simple, effective machine with a small but very simple and effective coil. I hope the video displayed to you the benefits of downsizing your coil when you're in tough areas. Don't worry too much about losing the search area, the size of the area you're covering. You use these in a different way. They're a sniffer. They're lovely and light. You can move them around, sniff into areas that you couldn't get into with bigger coils. And the beauty is that if you take your time, they will cover a lot of ground. But you can't go charging across the field with these things. You have to let them sniff about. But when you do use them right, in the right elements, they really are very, very effective. Okay, until the next video, good luck, happy hunting, and we'll see you soon.